for a Saturday edition of Coffee Talk. Number 483 live stream, 7 p.m. Central Time. It is July the 26th, 2025. Hello, Dave. How's it going? Uncle Al by Bullfrog 79. Two of my favorite people. Think y'all are gonna like, Uncle Al's gonna like tonight's topic. Oh man. We're gonna talk about the lay of the land, or the balance of power, or whatever you'd like to call it. I've been doing some research on the breakdowns of who controls what, and percentages and various things. I'm gonna go through that. Well, I don't think so. Well, if you're concerned, if you are a concerned individual, you make cringe. Yes. Yeah, and I'm sorry about that 5:30 call. I was talking to Melinda Elliott today. I mentioned, well, I'm talking to Dave too. Mentioned that I get messed up on time zones. JC, how's it going, JC? Thank you for coming. JC 2787, 111 subscribers. Good evening. We are early in the chat. 4 in the house and 2 likes. Please leave a like to support the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. KP Heathen, my friend. How you doing, KP? I overindulged today. I ate too much. Went to breakfast with my friend. Had a big breakfast plate. Afterwards, I went and had a Frappuccino. Came home. I had made a pot roast today. I had a big plate of that. Had a large dessert, 2 slices. I am too much. Melinda Elliott, how's it going, Melinda? I'm actually down on my weight, but I went off the wagon last couple of days. Thank you, Melinda. Oh, I'm tired. Start my new position Monday. Working on my 2,000 subscriber giveaway. Got part of it filmed or videoed, or whatever you want to call it. Working on it, working on the box now. Idaho Garden Girl, how's it going? Did you receive your box today, or did you tell me you received your box, Stephanie? Susanna Morrison, proud single mother. Thank you for coming in, young lady. Appreciate you. All right, well, yeah, they said it'd come in Saturday. I sent the thing off Monday. I'm bloody well disgusted. Oh, and I'm drinking sparkling frost plus caffeine, zero sugar, pure aqua, strawberry citrus. And it has 5 calories for 16 ounces. Left over from supper. Hello, little lone prepper. How you doing? Oof. Took my evening medication. I run all over town today. I also cooked some ribs, which will be for tomorrow. But I cooked them today. Can reheat them or warm them tomorrow. I put a link of sausage, which I cut up, into my stew pot, my crock pot, with a couple ears of corn, potatoes, squash, bell pepper, nice piece of meat. I'll be putting up a short showing the plate that I made myself. Made my wife a nice plate. We need a bunch of stuff. That's one of them. It was very good. It is very good, yes. I made my wife a nice breakfast plate before I went out to eat with my friend. So like during the school year, I'll get up early and make her a plate and leave it for her, wrap it and leave it for her. Whenever she gets up, she can eat it. I'll be out the door by 7. It's just the way things are. You got to schedule things. You got to be able to follow a schedule. Eight in the house and 8 likes. We are right at 10 minutes into the live stream. Buying space. Hello, Myra. Enrique Trevino. Welcome, my friend. So tonight's topic is going to be, or would be, one of my Coffee Talk News Shorts. I've got a lot of information I'm going to throw at you, hopefully in a short period of time, giving you a breakdown of how things are, the lay of the land, so to speak. And it's not a comprehensive, but it basically tells you the way the federal is laid out. And I'm just gonna, without any color commentary, just give you the breakdowns. So tonight's topic is basically the U.S. balance of power. I saw an 8-inch troll today. Should have purchased it for a voodoo troll doll. I'll try to get rid of trolls. So, everybody knows that the election of 24, the Republican Trump returned to the White House. He was POTUS 45, Biden was POTUS 46, and now Trump is POTUS 47. So he was 45 and 47. And he's basically 6 months into his administration, and he'll be there for another 3.5 years. So basically, the executive branch is controlled by the GOP right now. The legislative branch, there are two houses. There's the upper house, which is the Senate, and they're elected for 6-year terms. And then there's the House of Representatives, which basically every 2 years, there are 100 senators if they're all positions filled, and there are 435 representatives if all positions are filled. So right now, the Senate breakdown, there are 53 declared Republicans. A couple of them are rhinos. But basically, they will vote against the Republicans as much as they vote with them. There are 47 Democrats or independents that caucus with the Democrats. There are 47 of those. So the breakdown right now is 53 to 47. The Republicans control the Senate. The House of Representatives, of the 435 positions, there are 219 Republican. There are 212 Democrat or liberal or independent. But there are 219 to 212, and there are 4 vacancies. 3 deceased Democrats and 1 Republican who left or resigned. So there are 4 vacancies, and the assumption would be if there were an election, one would be Republican and the other 3 would be Democrats. And the Republicans would still control the House. They have a narrow margin. Now, the judiciary branch, you've got the district courts. There are 94. 56% are controlled or were appointed by Democrats. 36% that were appointed by Republicans, and 8% vacancies. So when they fill those vacancies, they'll probably wind up being Republicans. So you'll have a you'll have a 56 to 44. You'll still have the slight majority being Democrat. Then there is the appeals court, and there are 13 appeals courts. There are 12 appeals courts across the nation that are in control different areas, and there's one 13th appeals court, which is a super court that has jurisdiction everywhere and hears special cases. Of the 179 appeals court judges, 89 were appointed by Republicans and 87 by Democrats. Slight break, pretty even. A couple of more appointed by almost 50-50. A couple of more appointed by, in any openings that come open right now with a Republican in the White House and the Senate controlled, they'll be able to appoint a Republican. And when Biden was in office, he would have appointed a Democrat, So, yes, please hit the like button. And then you have the Supreme Court, which there are 9 justices on the Supreme Court. And it's been pretty stable as far as 9 justices for years, many years. 6 appointed by Republicans, 3 appointed by Democrats. Hello, Hillbilly Josh. Thank you for coming, stopping by. Hope you had a good day. Please leave a like to support the channel. So, the Chief Justice, who was appointed by Bush, he rules with the 3 liberals on occasion. And but there are 5 solid conservatives. He goes back and forth. So you can say it's a 5-4 court, but it's really a 6-3 court on a lot of things. There are 50 states and there are 5 territories. Of the 50 states, when you start talking about as opposed to federal, now we're talking state, there are 27 Republican governors. 27 state governors are Republican. 23 state governors are Democrat, or independent liberal. They're on the left. Of the territories, of the 5 territories, 2 are have Republican governors, 2 have Democrat governors, and 1 is progressive. They call it the Progressive Party, and that is Puerto Rico, and they tend to align. The governor aligns with the Republicans, but is a member of the so-called Progressive Party, but tends to align with the Republican government, the current one. Looking at cities, I did a Google search for the top liberal or progressive or blue cities. Now, I don't necessarily, I agree with most of this, but it leaves out a couple of them in the top 10. And I really believe that my list would be a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the top liberal cities. Most people will say San Francisco is right up towards the top. Take care, Josh. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you. Much love. And New York. We always hear about Los Angeles in San Francisco, in New York, in Boston. Well, we hear about Boston as far as their mayor, and they're very, very, very liberal, but they're not as big a city. But you hear a lot about Chicago. It's one of the biggest cities, and they have a lot of trouble with Chicago. You know, in your counts and your positions and all this stuff. But let me just go ahead and read to you what they say their top 10 are, or in this Google search that I did. They said as far as liberal cities, they listed San Francisco as number 1. They listed New York as number 2. Boston is number 3. Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, is number 4. Seattle, number 5. Oakland, number 6. Denver, Uncle Al, number 7. Portland, Oregon. Denver's Colorado, in Colorado. Portland, Oregon, number 8. Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 9. Chicago, Illinois, 10. And then they said number 11 would be Austin, Texas. They don't mention Los Angeles. But I will tell you, with everything that's been going on out in Los Angeles, and the fires out there that were handled poorly, and all of the crap that's been going on, they've been talking on the news. They don't have one conservative on their city council. The mayor, the vice mayor or assistant mayor, or whoever you want to, everybody out there, that whole, there's not one conservative in that whole, with over 50 people, I think, on the city council, it's not one conservative. You know, that's how bad the place is. They don't mention Atlanta, but Atlanta is a big, you know, Fulton County. Atlanta in the county. In the county, there's 3.5 million people. Now, yeah, out in the county, in the suburbs, there are a lot of conservatives. But Atlanta is about as blue as you can get. They don't mention Atlanta. Atlanta would be in my top 10. Los Angeles would be in my top 10. I would be going by population. You know, I would be going by population. Los Angeles is like the second most populous city in the country. So I would be going by population, and we usually mention New York, Chicago, Los Angeles. Yes, San Francisco, not as big, and there are other places, but these are the big blue. Yes, Honolulu, Hawaii. Hawaii is very blue, but it's not that big as far as population is concerned. Yes. See, I live in a conservative county, conservative small city. The city I live in has a population of about 65,000. It's very conservative. The county has about 100,000 in the county. Yeah. Yes, Stephanie, that's true. Horrible. I think I got one more sip in this. Very good. Sparkling frost plus caffeine, zero sugar, pure aqua, strawberry citrus. 70 milligrams of natural caffeine, sparkling water, flavored, 16 ounces, 5 calories. Excellent. Good stuff. Just finished that one off. So that would make a good coffee talk news. Another thing I would talk about. Now, I'm not geared up to specifically talk about it tonight, but I've been doing research on it, talking about the construction of the border wall, what they're doing, where they're at. Right now, they're in the process of trying to fill gaps. You've had segments of the wall built, but there are big holes. So you can have a 32-foot wall, and then you've got a 10-mile segment that's open, and then you've got more 32-foot wall. And they're in the process of trying to fill holes. Like in the state of Texas, when the Biden administration was in control of the border, you had the state government sending in the National Guard, Department of Public Safety, putting up concertina wire, putting up fencing, seeking to fill holes. And then you had the Biden administration having the Border Patrol cut the wire and cut the fencing and trying to, just absolutely just disgusting what they were doing. Absolutely disgusting to let them in. And and you've got your fencing, you got sections that are completed that have doors. They have big metal doors that you can keep locked, or that they can open to let vehicles through. And they had them wide open. What good is a bloody gate, huge gate, with a big fence if you just leave it wide open? Come on in! It's getting to the point. The administration is very frustrated. Their appointees, everybody's frustrated, and they're at the point where they're starting to indict. They've got people in place, and they're doing their due diligence, and they're getting ready to file cases. And they're doing things to demonstrate, hey, stop coming. And the new entries have gone way, 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 way down. Way down. I think at some point it will get to if you've read history, Uncle Al, I know you've read a lot of history. We actually have had to go into Mexico on multiple occasions. You had the Mexican War in 48, 46 to 48. After Texas became a state, we had a war with Mexico. And we actually invaded them. And then in the early 20th century, when Porfirio Diaz was basically losing his grip on power, very old, it's past 80, and the socialists were causing a lot of grief. They were having their revolution down there. They were coming across the border, some of our border towns, coming in, robbing. A few people were getting shot. And they sent Pershing, the U.S. military down there, sent Pershing to go after Pancho Villa and a lot of that crap, So we have had to go into Mexico. Mr. Whistle, how are you doing? Thank you for coming. Please leave a like to support the channel. The thing about that, Myra, same thing with Texas. There was very little population, very little European or um, Castilian population. You had missionaries basically sent by the church. They built some missions with native assistance, a few soldiers to garrison a few areas, very few immigrants, and basically trying to Christianize and civilize the natives. I'm glad you're doing well, Mr. Whistle. Joseph Moore, how you doing, sir? I was thinking about you, your missus, and the kids. Somebody had said you had not been by, and I said, well, he's got family. It's summer. I think his kid participates in softball. He's got some, kids, and family takes place, precedence. But thank you for stopping by. Well, congratulations. I'm sure you're very proud. Make sure you get plenty of pictures. Plenty of pictures. So, we have been talking about the U.S. balance of power, the lay of the land as far as the branches of government, where things are at. I would like to do a review of the Supreme Court decisions, most recent decisions of the Supreme Court. And I'm sure you are. I have 2 daughters, and I'm proud of them. So I've been talking about the lay of the land as far as, where the power is. And one thing that you have the big mega blue cities where all the big blue population's at. And like you take a state like California that has close to 50 House seats. And if I recall correctly, like 80% of them are Democrat controlled, and I think 9 are Republican controlled. 9 of close to 50. Or it might be 52, I'd have to check. This is off the top of my head. And you get some of these other places, look at where their population is, the big blue population. New York City, Chicago, Illinois, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Atlanta, um, and there are other ones with populations close to around 1 million, like Austin, it's a little over 1 million. Minneapolis in Minnesota, Denver in Colorado, Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Boston, Massachusetts. You've got these big blue cities, and there are others. $52, and I think nine of the 52 are Republican. So right now, the Democrats are very frustrated because they don't control hardly anything. They don't control anything, the federal government. You know, they really don't have the ability to stop anything if the Republicans can stay together. There's a lot of negative stuff coming out about the last few elections. A lot of the shenanigans that we knew were being done, but they denied, the proof is coming out. And it seems like they're trying to run out. They have a statute of limitations they're trying to run out. I wouldn't worry about a statute of limitations, you know. And I wouldn't worry about this presidential immunity for Obama. I'd do what needed to be done. I would do what needed to be done. Hello, Mike Crusher. How are you doing? You know, Uncle Al and I talk on occasion, and we communicate, and he's very frustrated with the way things are, especially where he's at. He keeps talking about cousin Dumas, the Dumases, and I'm frustrated. You know, how would you like? I'll give you an example I've done before. You go into the bank and cash your check. You come out, and a gang of 5 or 6 or 7 thugs rob you. That's against the law. Okay. So let's say you own a home, you have a job, you provide for your family, you pay your taxes, you have 2 children, you pay for them, raise them, and then you have this other individual who has 6 or 7 kids. They don't work. They depend on the government for welfare, for Medicaid. They really can't support their kids. They have to depend on food stamps or WIC or whatever you want to call it. They're not married. Their kids don't have, they have several different fathers. These kids grow up, they don't get a decent education. And it's like the cycle. The problem is that they're having more of them. So the responsible people are having less kids, and there are less of them. So in a lot of places, they have an election, and the responsible people, they can't get anybody that represents them elected. And they're frustrated. You know, they're frustrated. Yeah, they do see it as free money. So, I understand people come into the live stream, they don't want to hear the negative. I'm basically, I'm, you want to call it on a rant or a vent, but that's the way, and I'm in education, and I've been in education for over 30 years. And I've been a teacher, and I've been an administrator, and I know how things are, and I've seen how things are. You know. So, when people started coming from Europe, part-time planting. Hello, Peter. When they started coming over, there wasn't a government set up to help them. If they got help, it would be from the churches. The churches would help members of their congregation that need help. What government there was would basically help with security, making sure that supplies got over, and that there were a few troops to help patrol and protect the colonies from the Native Americans who they were having issues with because the way things were. And for hundreds of years, that's the way it was. And then in the 20th century, during the Great Depression, the period of the 30s and early 40s, the government started intervening with programs, work programs, the civilian conservation corps and such, putting people to work that did not have jobs on projects. Take care, Enrique. And that's the way that was. But right now, and it's been basically about the last 50 years, you've had a massive influx of people across the southern border mainly. Poor people from poor countries where standard of living was not good, health was not good, a lot of crime, a lot of problems, and they're coming here for a better life, for what they perceive as a better life. Problem is, they come here and then they get into the government dole, and then the debt's going up. The debt's just out of control. The debt spending is out of control, you know, and it can't keep going on the way it is. It really can't. And if you're against that, you're a horrible person. If you are against that, you're a horrible person. You know, there are people who would say I'm a horrible person because of my beliefs. I mean, I don't wish anybody ill will. You know, but I will tell you, I'm bright enough to see where things are broken and what really has to happen to fix it. Unless you want to bring the whole system down. Do you want socialism? I mean, the super uber rich, they're going to land on their feet. There aren't that many of them, but there's a lot of them. You know, the middle class is going to take it on the chin. We're going to take it on the chin. You know. Yeah, I wear a lot of black. I'm not into. I wear white t-shirts. Like if you catch me, a lot of times, like my undershirt for my dress clothes, my white dress shirt, which I usually wear a long sleeve white button-up dress shirt to work. I'll have a white t-shirt on under it. But I have several black t-shirts. Black is my color. Don't look as fat. And I don't wear shirts with got all. I mean, I've got a couple of spirit shirts, school spirit shirts that you wear like on Friday, but I don't wear shirts that's got stuff on it. So no, I'm not, you know. I wear layers of clothes. Like I'm wearing underwear, and then I'm wearing two pair of shorts that I could wear out. Got a pair of Nikes on. I got another pair. I don't even know what this brand is. So I'm basically three layers of shorts right now, and a black t-shirt. Then I got some ankle socks on, and I've got some, you know, got some work shoes that I wear for going out in the yard and such. And then if I was to go out, I probably would put on a pair of warm-ups. So that would be 4 layers. 4 layers. You know, some long warm-ups. And everything's got pockets except for the underwear. I've all got pockets, you know, so I've got plenty of pockets. So this evening, and I'll do one more live stream tomorrow, which is Sunday, and then I probably won't do any this next week until Friday because I'm back at work Monday. And I don't know what the topic will be tomorrow. Uncle Al might provide a topic, or I might come up with something myself. He's been busy, and I got to get ready for work. I go in Monday. So I'm working on the 2,000 subscriber giveaway. I've already done the poll, so I know who won. And it is somebody who's won before. I think they won a while back. I'm working on that, and I'll try to get that out tomorrow. I still got to do the segment where I show what's in the box. And got to get the box out this next week. I try to support those who support me, and I try to treat people the way I want to be treated. And I try to be as positive as I can, but then I'm realistic, and I have good days and I have bad days. And there are times when I don't feel well, days when I don't feel like doing a live stream. I mean, mentally, I'm not in the place to do a positive live stream. Right now, I'm tired. My wife has been sick. I've been stressed out, with that and stuff that I need to do. It is what it is. Just, things are the way they are. It is what it is. So I tell you what, at this point, been 15 people come in and identify themselves. Thank you all for being here this evening. I'm going to cut it short about 5 minutes. And I'd like to thank you and invite you back for another issue tomorrow. I'll try to do another coffee talk tomorrow. And I appreciate every one of you. I try to respond to comments, and I try to give you watch time when I can. I just have a lot going on. And when I get up in the morning, I thank God for the day. I say my prayers and drink my coffee and take my medication and try to get right with how things are. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Good night. This is a nice live stream. I enjoyed it.